Hello, everyone. This is Ariel. That's my name. My name is Ariel. And some of you might know me from my channel, I doubt it, called, it was originally called The Textbook Completionist, but then I changed it to The Safer Completionist because it just ended up turning into me just learning Sifrei Kodesh, and that's kind of the direction that the channel is heading. There might be a separate channel for actual textbooks. But this channel, what's this channel about? This channel is called Tikkun Chaser. Tikkun. Basically, it's kind of like a play on words of kind of what storm chasers are, people that chase after tornadoes and things like that. What is a tikkun? A tikkun is basically everything has a purpose in this world. Every molecule, every atom, every proton, neutron, from the most micro scale to the most macro scale, everything has a purpose in this world, and it's there to rectify something and to basically leave the world in a better place than it was before. And this applies to people as well, where people, every individual is naturally inclined to find meaning and purpose in their lives. I think this is kind of what Viktor Frankl was getting at in his book, Man's Search for Meaning. But basically, we don't really know what it is, right? We're born into this world. We don't really know what it is. And it's the process of searching that I believe is what derives purpose and meaning in and of itself, right? It's not only the end. It's not only the ends, but also the means is meaning and purpose. But that's enough of kind of the philosophical talk. Practically speaking, right? The question arises: what does that imply practically? In practicum, what that really pushes people to do is to take on actions or habits or identities. In my case, I think I'm in a place in my life where I'm recognizing that as I get older, I'm still young, but I'm definitely really as kind of a full-fledged adult now, and I have to make that choice of whether or not to actually make that jump to adulthood. Is, to put it frank, you gotta get your shit together. You have to get your shit together. And this is something that I was thinking about for a while, and I was just kind of writing about kind of some of the things and some of the habits and some of the identities that I want to have as a human being, to allow myself the freedom to pursue meaning. What I mean by that is that I feel like there's a lot of things in my life that I believe detract and distract me from my ability to search for my own meaning. What I mean by that is, I think, purposeless stimulation. I shouldn't say purposeless, because in reality, even when someone, let's say, like me, can watch YouTube for like 4 hours straight, there is a reason why. I can only really talk about myself, why I do that, right? It's a form of comfort, it's a form of stimulation, it's a form of hiding from taking the risks in life necessary to build meaning. And this is something that I was always wanting to do. There was always like my Yetzer Tov, my good inclination was like pushing me, Ariel, do this. But I think that there was a part of me that was deeply afraid. And I think that fear is Yetzer Hara being like, don't do it. Because I have a list here in front of me of the things that at least for the next 30 days, I'm going to cut out completely. And this is kind of me taking that first step in a setting where I believe it could be held accountable via YouTube and via this YouTube channel to really almost like detoxify the Jewish term would be klipa. this klipa that we have, and being able then to gain that freedom to pursue what is good. There's a pasuk, I believe it's in, I don't know if it's in Mishle or if it's in but it's no, it's, I think it's in Tehillim. It's definitely in Tehillim. Sumera v'asetov. Turn away from bad and then do good. Right? What's the lesson there? The lesson there is to really give yourself the freedom to pursue the good, you have to get rid of the bad. And I realize that there's a lot of bad that I've kind of gotten comfortable with in my life. So let me quickly kind of go over that kind of list. I believe that I struggle very deeply with like YouTube addiction. Like it is something that if I'm left to my own devices, if there's not something immediately urgent in front of me, I could very easily, and I have very easily, just watched YouTube or things like anime, manga. Weirdly enough, I don't really watch TV shows or movies or things like that. That was the outlets that I had for those things were YouTube, anime, manga, video games, and then also with my eating as well. I've been learning this book called Be'am Darkecha, or it's a set of books called Be'am Darkecha, and particularly reading his book that's all about Derech Avodah Maaseh, which is how to serve God practically speaking. And one of the things that he touches upon is eating. And I realize that the way that I eat is not, I feel like it really detracts from my ability to be present in life. I really don't eat healthy. I don't really eat at right times. I eat to escape feelings. I think I feel like that kind of ties into a lot of what this klipa, these bad habits that I have really serve me for, which is they serve me as a form of hiding from my responsibilities, hiding from life, hiding from my feelings, hiding from feeling emotions that are deeply uncomfortable. And that's something that I think needs to be rectified. Kind of what this channel is all about. So I think for the next 30 days, what I'm going to document is, this is day 1. I've already canceled all of my YouTube premium subscriptions. I've canceled any kind of subscriptions I have for anime. I still need to delete all the video games on my phone. I don't have any video games on my computer. Basically, just starting with detoxing this klipa from my life, which is YouTube, anime, manga, unnatural sugars, or like sucrose, even like artificial sweeteners. I want to have more natural sugars in my diet, and I'm gonna add more to that list. And I just want to see where it goes. This is day 1, and I want to document my journey kind of each day and see where this takes me, because I'm curious to know what happens when I take away the things that provide me, stimulation and amusement in the form of consumption. Meaning that, right, these are things that I consume. These are not things that I produce. They're not productive in any way whatsoever. Or at least not in the ways that I believe are fitting to me. And this is day 1. And I want to kind of use this as just like a little bit of a journal to be like where I'm at with it and how I feel about it. And since this is day 1, like I haven't really felt many of the adverse effects yet, but I know that will be a thing. that there will definitely be a withdrawal from stepping away from these forms of stimuli. And I'm curious. I think besides for the fear of the anticipation of that, probably what's going to even be like a physical withdrawal symptoms, is a deep curiosity. I'm curious that this will give me hours of my life back, right? This will deeply impact my ability to sleep on time and to have good quality sleep. What am I going to do at that time? There's so much to do. There's so much that I can do. There's so much productive work I can do, right? I can already think, my wife told me that she thinks that the water in the sink tastes like sulfur. Okay, so I got to figure that out. I have there's personal projects and ideas that I'm currently working on that I'm like, you know what, let's see where that takes me. And being able to take actionable steps towards that. My YouTube channel, right? Actually producing videos and taking time to learn Torah, also taking time to actually like study textbooks. I feel like since I graduated from my master's this past December, I've like not opened up a textbook. Might be just be the trauma from having to always look in a textbook. But there's also other hobbies. My brother asked me, he called me recently, he was like, Arya, like, what do you do for fun? And I was like, I don't really know. Right? Because things like YouTube and anime, at least the way that I use them, I understand that these can be real hobbies and enjoyable things for other people. And I think at the beginning it was like that, but then it became something that was deeply addictive. And it became wrong. It became something that was hurting me. And at a certain point, I would even catch myself just like, I'm noticing that I'm just not enjoying this. I'm not enjoying YouTube. I'm not enjoying anime. I'm not enjoying these things. If anything, the anticipation is what's enjoyable. Is being like, oh, I can't wait to see what videos there are to watch. I can't wait to see what animes came out today. But the next thing you know, I'm just blindly. I'll even be pressing like the arrow key to like just speed through videos and just like, that's what it's just stimulation. And I have ADHD, and it's something that I feel like that whether that's a cause or a symptom, it's too hard for me to know. Based off of the books that I've read so far, I've read Scattered Minds by Dr. Gabor Mate, ADHD 2.0, a few other books as well. But yeah, I mean, going back to the curiosity piece of this, right? I have so many books that I'm reading. I have so many books on my shelf. I'm currently here in my library, and I mean, you guys only really see this side of things. This is all Sifrei Kodesh. On the other side of the wall here is literally all like secular books. So like, I have books. I have so many textbooks on calculus, on Fourier transforms and wavelets, on even just like textbooks on like the math behind options, futures, and other derivatives, Bayesian data analysis, as well as also like a lot of self-help books that I've read through over the course of my life. And as well as what I've kind of recently added to my collection, which has been like these collections of classic works. I like to collect kind of old books. And for example, I have a collection of short stories from the 1940s that was originally published in like 1903, but this was a printing that came out like in the 1940s, 1946, I believe, of like English short stories by H.H. Munro. And I never really was a person that read fiction. Since I was a kid, I would always read nonfiction. And recently I've developed kind of this chukka, this desire for reading these works. And I've been reading Huckleberry Finn, and I've been reading the essays of Michel de Montaigne. And it's really cool to see like different works of philosophy throughout history, and also just like fictional books, like reading Mark Twain, right? There's something that I read in school and I hated reading. But then I was like, you know what, let me give it a try. And there's actually so much depth to these classical fictional tales that really introduces a lot of very awesome perspectives of mine, and it helps me to understand the world. Right? Like I wanna understand more about the world and more about how other cultures and people think, and I think that's something that I've kind of wanted to emulate about. For example, I think kind of my big role models are the rabbis in the time of the Amoraim and the Tanaim and the people who served on the Sanhedrin, who were very worldly people. They knew so much about the world, and they knew about other cultures and what other people believed in terms of their theology, in terms of cultural norms and societal norms, and it made me realize like there's so much more to this world than like the bubble that I've lived in my whole life. And Ramban, Nachmanides, he writes, he interprets the first commandment in the Ten Commandments, Anochi Hashem, as, right, not just believing in God, but also to understand God through his works, right? So like studying, a random fascination of mine that's come to me recently has been botany. I used to be super into like things like mushroom foraging and mycology, and I've always been a person that's always had very random interests. Um, but that was kind of the recent bug that I caught, which was this fascination with the plants around me, and just learning more about them. And um, for example, the tree outside my house, I never really thought about it, but that tree is a red maple. And I just kind of did a deep dive into like what a red maple is, what you can do with it, and what kind of everything from its genetic studies and its variations and its like genetic variations. Um, it just kind of piqued my curiosity of like what kind of native plants are around me here, and these are the kinds of things that I feel like are possible when I eliminate distractions. Is what do I do with all this time now, right? I know that my sleep is going to get better. Probably not in the short term. I know that my brain is so like fried from like years and years and years of just like addictive use of these forms of klipa, um, that it's definitely going to be a long road. It's going to be extremely challenging. Um, but you know what? I think I'm just tired of living a life where I feel like I'm kind of like amusing myself to death or like stimulating myself to death, where I consume much more than I produce. And that lack of equilibrium, I think is something that kind of haunts me at night, as I go to bed. And I've noticed that over the years that the times when my brain is most active and I have all these ideas and thoughts of being productive, it's always when I'm trying to go to sleep. And I think that's my neshama. I think that's my soul telling me that my purpose is for greater things, and that I must cut these things away from my life. Um, I know this has kind of just been like a rambling of like just random shit, to put it frankly. But I've never been a good person that's been good at like getting my thoughts together. I've always been someone that um, answers come to me by kind of talking out loud, like just kind of thinking out loud, talking out loud, and having the right ideas and right thoughts come to me. Um, but yeah, that's something that I've been wanting to do for a really 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 long time. Um, I'm like scared to turn the camera off because I know that means like I have to like now like live by that. um, but we'll see. We'll see. The plan right now is to publish a video every day about this journey, and who we'll see who I'll be in 30 days. We'll see who I'll be tomorrow, the day after, at the 1 week mark, the 2 week mark, the 3 week mark, and just kind of see this gradual journey progress. Um, but, anyways, I think I'm going to leave it there. Because at this point, I'm just trying to delay the inevitable, which is starting this journey. Hopefully, you guys can relate to this fear of starting. Um, But yeah, let's leave it there. Thank you guys for whoever is listening. Hopefully, you guys can relate to this. Um, the main purpose of me doing this again, just like with my other channel, is a form of kind of virtual accountability. That I've always been someone that has a really hard time doing things just for myself, and that's something that I have to work on. But I know that right now I have to work with that to get to a place where then I can then transition to being someone that does things for myself and for my own internal sense of values. Um, but yeah, I hope you guys got something out of this. And if you did, feel free to let me know what resonated with you, and if any of you guys have started this journey, what has that journey been like? If you guys have been like, yeah, oh, I've just kind of cut YouTube out of my life. If you guys are maybe, just like YouTube creators, which is what I mean when I say no YouTube. I mean, I'm only going to make YouTube videos. I'm not going to consume any YouTube videos. People that have made these decisions to cut off things in their life that, you know, someone might judge them and say, well, you just use it in moderation, and them having to admit to themselves that, there's nothing inherently wrong with these things. There's nothing inherently wrong with YouTube or anime or manga or video games or, sugar. It's just that for me personally, I'm just someone that does not know how to use it in a healthy way. And it's taken me a long time to accept that reality. So if any of you guys are in the same boat, let me know so I know that I'm not alone. Um, and yeah, so thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next update.